ever find yourself maybe going down the rabbit hole on a story like this? Bad news, something that you see on social media, news sites, things like that? It's called Doomsday scrolling. That's what a lot of us are doing right now. And it can really take a toll on your mental health. Diving in too deep on bad stories can trigger high blood pressure, high cortisol levels, that's your stress, and promote living in fear. It can also be a catalyst for depressive and anxiety attacks. The key to stop doom scrolling is to figure out how much time you're spending on some of these social media sites and then limit yourself. Just take a little break every now and then. Set a timer, maybe 5 minutes. Get caught up on your headlines, get the news you think you need, and then go and do something else. I do feel the living in fear part. I think being in news for so long, I used to, just something small like roller coasters, things like that. I just know too much now about all the things that can go wrong.
That's why I feel like I'm more aware of my surroundings more than anything else. And even like the amount of, and I guess the example, kind of a doomsday scenario example, is all these freeway shootings that happen. I will never lay my horn against anybody. And that is, if they were swerving into me, maybe I would consider it. But because of what we do every day, I'm so aware of the road rage that is taking place out there. And a freeway shooting just happened 2 days ago on a stretch of road on I-94 that I am on every single day of my life. So, it's things like that I think you're talking about. I think in this doomsday scrolling that we do, I don't think there's a topic that people do more in terms of doomsday scrolling than your health. If you have some sort of health issue, to go down the rabbit hole on a health-related issue that you or somebody you know has, oh boy, you want to talk about anxiety. Never leave your house.
The thing that helps with that is taking control of what you can, right? Which, like you're talking about, not laying on the horn.
Right.
Yeah.
With health, that's why we're always talking about control as much as you can. And that takes away a little bit of the anxiety. Speaking of anxiety, interesting, guys, the expert panel is now recommending all Americans under the age of 65 regularly be screened for anxiety. Now, this is a first for the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force. It has been recommending assessments for depression since 2002. These screenings would take place during a doctor's office visit, would involve answering a handful of questions. Now, these questions are drawn from proven screening tools. The panel says depression and anxiety disorders go undetected. And if it does, it can get worse. So the recommendation is published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. They don't make policy, but oftentimes, especially with the Affordable Care Act, they require that insurers cover any screenings it recommends.
We always throw the terms depression and anxiety around, and I guess I never realized a couple of years ago, I think I was doing some sort of therapy session. And yes, I see a therapist. It's very good, very therapeutic. But depression, and correct me if I'm wrong, depression is something that has happened to you that, consumes you. And anxiety is worrying about something that potentially could happen to you. It hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So just the distinction between those two, I'm not sure how many people actually know that.
Yeah.
We just thought, oh, I'm depressed and I have anxiety. Like, you know what that means.
Yeah, sometimes when you look at, because I was looking at the questions, like what kind of questions because in a doctor visit, oftentimes that's pretty quick, right? Depending on how much time your doctor has to spend with you. But so depression is often about sadness and hopelessness, and anxiety often is more about fear and
something that you're worried about.
You're maybe irrationally worrying about things. Yeah, they do. They are very closely linked. So.
And they're very different things too, I think.
But your doctor should be, to some extent, asking you about those things. If you're going to the doctor.
Well, and I guess that's I guess that's the biggest part of it. No, this has been talked about for the last few months, and the fact that it soon is going to be something that everyone is going to have to talk about is a good thing. But then there probably should also be subsequent conversations about medication that's prescribed for anxiety, for depression, because there are some long-term risks as well. But for most people who are just looking to feel better, for people who have a hard time just getting through the day, it's good to be acknowledged in that way.
Right.